Now, I want to talk about linking or connecting conditionals. I talked about, we've done the contrapositive. The next step to really solving these kinds of games, and even logical reasoning in certain cases, like I said, is linking rules together to form inferences. A contrapositive is a kind of inference, by the way, but if we're looking to really make a lot of inferences, conditional chains are the way to go. So, like I said before, you want to have the same variable in multiple rules. In particular, it's nice when you have a particular variable as a necessary condition in one rule, and then as the sufficient condition in another rule. So I talked earlier about A requiring B requiring C. That's probably the easiest example I can think of. A little bit more complex would be if you have a negative variable as well, because again, negative variables, not as clean and nice as positive variables. It's easier for us typically to think of things in positive terms rather than in negative terms. So here we have not Y in the necessary of the first rule and in the sufficient of the second rule. So through, I think, what is called in formal logic the transitive property, and that's a formal logic term you don't need to know, you can link these together. X requires not Y, requires Z, which is what I would put on my diagram. It's what I would write out the entire thing. I wouldn't simply say X requires Z because that's leaving out the not Y information. And there could be certain cases where that not Y information is actually useful. In particular, if we were in a situation with longer chains where they were asking about not Y in some way, I would want to retain that. I would want to keep that and still have it on my scratch paper to potentially use at some later point. Obviously, in this example in isolation, what we're really driving at here is that X requires Z. That's useful to know. And if you really want to next level it, you could take the contrapositive of this entire three variable chain and say, what? Feel free to type in the chat, what's the contrapositive of this entire thing? Just as a little exercise.
Not Z to Y, not X.
Perfect. Awesome. You got it, Winnie. That's great. Harry's also got it. Not Z requires Y, requires not X. That's the contrapositive of this entire thing. So maybe they would ask you, if X is in, what must be true? Z. If Z is out, what must be true? Not X. That's the kind of inferences they're looking for you to make. And of course, with more rules added on, it gets even more complicated. Having the entire chain in front of you is really useful to solve these questions like they're nothing. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.